it's no secret that the Nintendo Switch is one of the most popular Nintendo consoles of all time. It's such a great device. The purpose of this video is I kind of want to talk about like my hopes and dreams and expectations and realistic expectations for the next new hardware from Nintendo. Obviously, the form factor with the Switch is it's one of my favorite consoles ever. I love being able to just play it docked or to just sitting around and play it handheld, especially on the OLED screen. The games do look gorgeous, but we're coming up on the going into the 7th year. The 6 year anniversary is coming up in March, which means it's going into its 7th year on the market. Generally speaking, Nintendo consoles usually last about 5 to 6 years before they go to the next iteration. So we can expect something new probably next year from Nintendo. I don't think that's a crazy thought. I know we just got the OLED in October of last year. But people are starting to notice that the Switch is a little bit underpowered. Some would say, although first-party games are usually optimized pretty well. But in games like Bayonetta 3 that I'm currently playing, although it looks nice, I want to see I would love to see that game just look amazing with really detailed art and environments and all that stuff. Even though it does already look pretty well, but stuff like Pokemon Arceus, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, those textures don't look great, and one could say, well, maybe that's just the Pokemon company and not optimizing well, or they just don't feel the need to go that detail because they don't have to, because Pokemon games just sell amazingly well. But when you have like Breath of the Wild that came out in 2017, it's still one of the best looking games on the market, which is crazy, since it's a bit of an older game. But my expectations for the next Switch, I already said in another video that Tears of the Kingdom will be launching alongside of the new Switch, whether it's the Switch 2 or whatever it is. I don't think that's a crazy statement to say. I think that makes sense. I think Zelda is usually a cross-gen game anyways. You got you had Twilight Princess for the GameCube with the Wii. You had obviously Breath of the Wild with the Wii U, which one can argue that's not really a cross-gen because Wii U didn't even sell, but Wii U and the Switch. So it's not. I don't think it's a crazy statement to say. But what I expect out of the Switch itself, or the next console, is I think we'll get like a Switch 2, or Super Switch, or whatever the case is. I think they nailed the Switch, like its concept. Obviously coming from like the Wii U to the Switch, they nailed that. And I think it's hard for them to gotta get away from that unless they just completely shake up the game altogether. But then I don't know what that would be. Maybe like VR or something. And I don't really think I want VR out of Nintendo. So again, I think the form factor of the Switch is there. Obviously, we want improved hardware. We want it to be at least up to like the series, like the One X or like the PS4 Pro or something like that in terms of like hardware. Um, I don't see price wise. Nintendo's usually, I think 350 is kind of been their max as far as our consoles go. And I don't think they've ever hit 400. Unless I'm remembering wrong. But so I expect the next Switch to be priced at $400. I think that'll be a nice and I'm okay with paying a little bit extra for a more powered console. I think we've always had that low power, that budget friendly console for so long that I think gamers are okay with paying a little bit more for a better product, more power, and all that good stuff. Again, I think the form factor, the idea of the Switch, I think it's going to remain mostly the same. I've seen like concept arts of like a second screen on the Switch itself, which I don't know. I don't think I need that. That's just, it feels like a lot. It was fine with the 3DS because it was a lot smaller than the Switch, but I feel like that would be too much to hold like in your hand. I don't know. But I think obviously the biggest improvement they need to make is the Joy Cons. I was playing Bayonetta 3 last night, for the first time, just like kind of laying in bed, and man, it just, my hands started to hurt after like 30 minutes. And that's not the first time it's happened, but I am ready for something else with those, because those Joy Cons are just kind of terrible. Now I do have like you know, a grip that most people probably have nowadays with their Switch, and that makes it a lot more playable handheld. But yeah, I think going and changing up those Joy Cons is probably like the biggest priority, other than, you know, increased power in the hardware itself. I think one of the most important features, if you can even call it that, of the next hardware is it has to be backwards compatibility. I don't think Nintendo can get away with it not being again. You know, obviously with everything transferring over, or being ported over from the Wii U to the Switch, there's just so many Switch games now, so many ports that I think it would be like a crime if the next hardware doesn't have backwards compatibility, whether it's just digital or however they would do that, or hopefully you know the next Switch is the cartridge based like they have for the current Switch. I think that's a must have. I think, you know, we should riot if you know, if they don't have backwards compatibility. That's a must have for me. So yeah, again, I think it's gonna drop with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom day one. I think they'll probably announce it sometime in like February, maybe their typical February direct, and then have it launch in May. Hopefully, we get a Zelda themed Switch. That would be pretty awesome. Um, but yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I'm always curious to hear what other people think about their theories of when the next Switch console launches. It could very well launch, you know, with, you know, in, you know, holiday of next year, but I do think we'll definitely get it next year at some point, and it just makes sense, the most sense to launch with Zelda. So hope you guys like this video, and I will see y'all in the next one.